of that disclaimer, nobody laughed. I'd be really sad if that happened. So, I like riding the Metrolink. And I like riding it. I think it was like one-person class. Awesome. Really cool. I like riding it for all those really warm and fuzzy inside feelings and all those altruistic reasons. But secretly, I like riding it because it makes me feel good about myself. And if I'm ever having a really crappy day, or like I'm complaining about my job for some stupid reason, like public transportation really puts my life into perspective, and it makes me realize I am a freaking lucky bitch, and that makes me happy. And out of all of the pregnant teenagers and like super underage thug kids that hit on me on the Metrolink, and all of the really like elderly drunk guys at 7:30 in the morning that also hit on me on the Metrolink, only once has a man ever come and sat next to me and told me that I had a good aura. And he was Asian, so I figured, he probably knew a lot about auras. And that was, so I was like, please come sit next to me. And he was kind of small and a little old and unassuming, so I figured if need be, I could probably like kick him in the knees, not run in, my heels on, I was good. And also he had really bad breath, and for some reason in my mind that equated to the perfect description to give the police if he stole my purse later. Like, oh, it's this Asian man, he knows a lot about auras and he has bad breath, go! And they would be like, yes, we know exactly who you're talking about. This man, he's ever with his halitosis. It's crazy. So this guy, he sits down next to me, and after he tells me about my aura, he grabs my hand and starts reading my palm, which is the first time that I have not screamed rape when someone touched me. So that was the first there. But he started reading my palm, and he very seriously turned and looked at me and said, "Don't worry, you're going to live a long life." And it really touched me because everything that he was saying was completely spot on. Like, this guy knew his auras, top bottom, all about it. He was on his game that day. He probably like skipped brushing his teeth just to like brush up on this, and it was more power to him. And as he's reading my palm, this complete calm came over me because he said, "Green's your power color," which I don't know if it really was, but like now it is. Seems right. And he said, "You're going to live like 82 to 84 years," which I didn't really need it quantified. Like long was a good enough time figure for me, but I've got a few years left in me. And he said, "Don't worry, I know you've been sick, but things are going to get better." And what he had no idea of knowing was that I was in the middle of this really bad luck streak. And it was a really bad luck streak. And what he really had no idea of knowing is that just a few weeks earlier, I had woken up with a toothache, which seems innocent enough. But 4 days later, I was having emergency oral surgery. And of course, like I was in the middle of this bad luck streak and it was not giving up. And of course I had complications from surgery. And 2 weeks later I was in the emergency room. And 2 months after that I had lost over 10 pounds because the monstrous infection that took hold of me after my surgery had caused such severe scarring on my voice box and my vocal cords and my esophagus that I could barely eat solid food. And for that matter, I could barely talk. So I'm sitting there on the train thinking, like, who the fuck is this guy telling me, like, don't worry, everything's great, I know about auras, you're gonna be fine. Here, take that and run with it, be happy. But so I'm sitting here thinking that, and he, who is he to tell me that? How does he know that after months and months and months of feeling like crap every day and seeing, 3 separate ENTs and 2 gastroenterologists and a speech therapist and getting scopes and probes and medications and like God only knows what, and feeling just awful and lying to my friends about having a lot of deadlines so I didn't have to hang out with them because I knew that if I hung out with them they would want me to like talk and not just sit there, and talking was really, really painful. So who was this guy to tell me everything would be okay? Because the worst part about all of this was that after months and months, it was really getting to me. And I had started having nightmares about losing my voice permanently. And when that is a real and genuine concern in your life, when that is an actual possibility for something that might happen, the one thing that you really want to do is speak. And I couldn't. So I needed to do something to ease my fears and do something to stop the nightmares that I was having at night. So I started writing, and I wrote, and I wrote, and I wrote, but that didn't really help very much. For some reason, like, my humor wasn't translating, and it's probably because I'm not funny. And so I was still having these nightmares. I still had to do something. So out of my fears, I started Moth Up St. Louis. And and much like riding the Metrolink, I wish that I had started it for completely altruistic reasons, but my motives were purely selfish. Sorry. I did it completely for myself, so I would have a place to talk while I could, and so I would have a forum to tell my stories. But this thing that it has turned into, this beautiful thing that it has evolved into, that all of you have come to, this transition and this new name, that's not for me. That's completely separate now. That has turned into something for everyone else, and for people like me out there who are worried about not being able to tell their stories and leave their legacy. It's for everyone else. And I guess through all of it, the moral of the story, what I eventually learned, is that sometimes it's very important that we take our inner aches and pains and we have the courage to turn them into beautiful beginnings.